Microdose, yeah. Microdose, 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 dose. Microdose, microdose, dose. Microdose, microdose, dose.
In 5 and in 4, 3. What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here, coming to you with another episode of the Microdose. No Robin Seto tonight, Mr. Robin if you're nasty, but we got Kai with us, of Kush and Kai, Mr. Kai if you're nasty. Kai, how you doing tonight?
Not bad. It's good to be in Robin's seat, kept it nice and warm, but I'm back. I am excited to talk some Best Picture.
Yeah, man.
And who do we have for that?
We got a friend of the family, Drew Angelman, coming back to this show. He's a 2-time Robin Seto cameo party winner. Ooh. And he's your all-around know-it movie guy. Drew, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little tired from how much I've been posting about the challenge lately. There's a lot going on. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here, though.
What season of the challenge are we on now?
So far, right now, the main season is Challenge 36. It's wrapping up soon. There's only like 3 episodes left, but they just did like a spin-off season of the Challenge All-Stars where there's like people in like their late 30s, early 40s, close to 50s that were on the show long ago, and they came back to like play challenge games and be like a part of the challenge again. So
do they count the all-star seasons as regular? Like when you said 36, do they tack that on as one more season, or is that like a side? These are all-star seasons.
That's like a spin-off. They're counting this as a spin-off right now, but it looks really good. It's really, really good so far.
Okay.
When you were on here back in January, were we still in season 36, or did we just shift at some point? Because I feel like that's totally a possibility here.
We actually just started season 36.
Oh, okay.
We were in the middle of it. So, yeah, we were back in January. It started in December. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, speaking of the last time you were here, man, as I mentioned, you're a 2-time Robin Seto cameo party winner, but you had some movies to recommend for us. You recommended Cherry, which I never got to. Kai, I don't know about you.
Nope.
You recommended The Little Things on HBO, and I did see that. That first hour is fantastic. And then we get into the second hour, and it's just like, some things start getting explained. If we weren't close to the 1 hour mark, we had just passed it when I figured, like, we are actually like sometime in the mid 1980s. Like, I hadn't put together like all the old model cars. Like, I was like, why didn't they run on a cell phone? Like, it never really occurred to me that wasn't happening. What started off fantastic ended up a disappointment. Godzilla vs. Kong. I got to see that last night, and that does not disappoint.
Yeah, I just watched it not too long ago, actually yesterday, and the monster scenes are fantastic. I loved it so much.
I think that's the only thing to expect out of those, and it sounds like they delivered above and beyond here.
Well, you remember, like, we had the original Godzilla from 2014, the thing that started off this series. And they're trying to it's going to be the dark and gritty Godzilla. And you're like, oh, yeah, Fukushima just happened 3 years ago, bro. It's all circular, man. And it just turned out to be like a big bummer and a disappointment. Like, I enjoyed it the first time I saw it, and then I didn't see it again after that. And I just went, yeah, I don't want to revisit that. And Kong was cool, but King of the Monsters, outside of the visual effects, like 10 on looks, 2 on substance. It was a big nothing, a big expensive nothing. And, Godzilla vs. Kong turned out to be the cartoon. They just went like, fuck it, let's stop being gritty. Like, we're going to get hovercrafts, and we're going to the center of the earth, Kai. All
Love it. Love it. All right.
And he has a giant radioactive axe. It's awesome.
Got a giant radioactive axe.
Guess what? They're the same size. Oh! We don't care. We'll do anything.
My man, Sunday, April 25th, we got the Something and Not Something Oscars coming up. And we don't have to get into everything, but Best Picture. Out of the possible 10, we have 8 this year. Majority of them are all streaming. I think everything is streaming now, but let's run down this list. The Trial of the Chicago 7 on Netflix, The Father, Amazon Prime's The Sound of Metal, Promising Young Woman, Hulu's Nomadland, Minari, Netflix's Mank, which is 5 vowels better than Monk, and HBO's Judas and the Black Messiah.
Which was going on down the street from the Trail of Chicago 7.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Late 60s, man. The FBI taking some L's. President Bartlett, too. Not looking great running that show.
No.
Oh,
I've managed
So-
to see 3 of these now: Black Messiah, Mank, and The Sound of Metal. Kai, Drew, what have you seen?
Oh, I'm on the low end of the stick here, too. I also, Judas the Black Messiah, Mank, but I went the other way with Nomadland. Wait, you
Okay.
also saw Minari, didn't you?
No, I was hoping to squeeze that in this afternoon, but I did
Mm.
not. Drew, how about you?
Luckily, with the guys in the on my podcast, we've been actually going through the ones that are on the streaming network. So I've seen the Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Nomadland, Sound of Metal, Trial of the Chicago 7, and I just recently watched Promising Young Woman
Okay.
the other week. So the only 2 I haven't seen are The Father and Minari, which I'm hoping to see before late April.
Mhm.
That-
Based on the ones you have seen, what is the best one of those that you've seen, Drew?
Yeah, tell us.
I mean, all of them are really, really good in their own right. But
Dig,
to
dig.
me, the one that's like way ahead of everybody that I would rather watch over and over again, and I think that has the most compelling scenes, is Judas and the Black Messiah. I watched that, I think, twice in the span of 2 weeks.
Mhm.
I watched it by myself, and then the podcast guys wanted to watch it, so I watched it again. It's really, really good. To me, I think that one just stands out with the performances of Daniel Kaluuya, Jesse Plemons, Lakeith
Mhm.
Stanfield.
Man.
The movie is shot so well, it's written so well, and it just is smooth. It's just smooth as butter. And it's a fantastic story too.
Who was the director behind that? I don't have that with me here.
I think it's
Isn't that,
Shaka King. It's also the producer, executive produced by Ryan Coogler, who did
Yeah.
Creed and Black Panther.
For sure. Okay. Kai, what'd you think about the Judas and the Black Messiah?
Oh, I mean, I agree. Just it's working at so many levels. I mean, the way they took that story and put it together from these 2 perspectives, and just playing in the music, and then how terrified the white establishment was. So
Mhm.
it's carrying this message, and it really, the way it just builds to that moment is just, I mean, it's powerful. And yeah, I think just for the last year we've had, and then for the Oscar voters, I feel like this is right in the right corner to pick for in front of a lot of these. So I think that's your odds-on favorite.
That's gonna be the favorite. Okay.
I think so.
All right. What did you think of Mank? Or what was the other one you saw? Nomadland. Tell me about
Nomadland.
Nomadland.
Well, wait, let me start with Mank, because of all the critics and nerdy folks that I know, it's like it's a very important film, especially because it was written by Jack Fincher, David Fincher's father.
Oh, okay.
And then he wanted to make it, and it needed to be made in black and white, and the commercial appeal is very in question. But the story itself, like, coming from all of these characters that he pulled that were actually there, and then that are in the history of Citizen Kane, and it's got so much Easter egg porn about, like, oh no, they included that because it influenced it this way in the past. However, I mean, I watched it with somebody, my wife, who just did not care about the history of filmmaking, Fincher at all.
Oh, really?
It was just like boring and full of itself. And I was like,
Fascinating.
yeah, but I mean, that style. And he was being oppressed by Hearst, and he fell from the Algonquin table. She's like, I don't give a shit. So it was a hard sell there, but I understand, like, it's, if you're into it, it's interesting and important, and if you're not, it's a hard sell if you don't care about that era or that story.
I feel like it's the one. So again, I haven't seen everything. I've only seen 3 of these, but I feel like watching it last night, I felt like this is literally checking off all the boxes. You got David Fincher. You got Gary Oldman. It's a beautiful style. The writing is superb. It's about old school Hollywood, which is always just like another check on the box. And then finally it ends literally with real life footage of our main character pushing an Oscar in front of the camera. It's definitely saying, like, you're giving this to us. There's no way around it. At least that's my opinion.
I think that it is really well performed. I think it's one of those movies where it's the token Hollywood movie about Hollywood that gets put up for an Oscar. It's like La La Land. It's just, there always has to be one. There's one where it's just made for the filmmakers. And I think it is like bloated in its own form at one point, and it's a good movie, but to me it's like doesn't have that rewatchability. Like I'm not gonna like go back and be like, oh, I really enjoyed the Mank here, so I'm gonna just watch 2 hours with it.
Hearing critics say like, well, on my second and third rewatch, I'm like, are you nuts?
No way.
I mean, it's a solid 2 hours. It didn't feel its length for me, but I also just like, yeah, this back and forth is getting old. Just I wish we could have just played it straight through. I got terrible taste like that. Tell us about Nomadland. This has been cleaning up at all the award shows. It won the Golden Globes.
Frances McDormand has really been taking after 3 Billboards, and then this, and then she's going to play the tragedy of Macbeth. It's like we have some bummer McDormand coming at us, and this is, I mean, it has so much heart, and it just gives you so much viscera of like, there's this class of elderly that just have aged out of jobs, have been pushed to the margins and just forgotten. And it's just, I mean, the first act is just heartbreaking of this woman, like not having a home and then coming together into this camp of nomads. And like, even then they're still like finding, even in the most tragic circumstances of like, oh, your home can blow a tire and you can lose even what little you had. They find this community and they come together as best they can. And like just showing like little bits of humanity inside that was just heartbreaking. I don't know how they got Amazon to let them shoot in a facility, but it was connecting the dots of like, well, we'll kind of employ you, but like, I don't know, you can come back maybe. Like, well, here's some scraps for you. But
is there an actual scene in an Amazon Prime facility?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're workers. They got the robots in the back. They're doing the safety training. I think they sold it as like, hey, look, we can give some jobs. We're not, and it was like, I mean, the movie does get off of just this. I mean, it sets it up as the thread of who Frances' character is. And then it spins off into its own story about her trying to find her way in the world, and then the relationships with the family. It's not just that, but that first act is still just real striking. I mean, I've talked about what other people have seen it. Like that's really all I talk about with it is just how it portrays that, and it's just stark. And yeah, it's PBS documentary quality of like, oh God, no, they have a poop in buckets class. Look at this. Look at this.
To forget the director's name, Zhao. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, I understand she kills it in this movie. I understand it's well told. Frances McDormand, does she ever give a bad performance? Probably not. But this is really unromantic when you actually have 50 RVs about 3 blocks away from you, and it makes you just go, just a little bit. Things get a little squirrely after hours. So
maybe not.
That's the only reason why I haven't gone out of my way to see it, despite having Hulu.
Oh, speaking of which, about experiences being too close to you that you can't watch something. My mother-in-law passed from a broken hip, but that was caused by severe dementia. So the father, we kind of stayed away from.
Okay.
We were like, I don't know if I could sit through that, man.
I understand there's another one, another Abuse the Elderly movie on Netflix right now. I forget the name of it.
I Care a Lot.
I Care a Lot. Yeah.
Oh, that was messed up.
Mama Hayes says that's the scariest movie she's ever seen. And I was like,
that was terrifying. And then it got crazy.
And then it got crazy.
Right. Yeah, it got crazy at the end. The last third of that movie is, oh my gosh,
holy
what that
cow.
crap.
What's her name from Gone Girl? She scares me. If I saw her like at an airport, I'd just start running, just drop my bags and get out of there. That lady is crazy.
The only other movie that I saw was Sound of Metal, and while I don't think it's the best picture, maybe, or at least probably not of the 8 we got here, I thought it would have had the most interesting theatrical experience, and I really wish that's something I could see in the theater. Just the way they played with the sound. That's not going to sound great on my beautiful 4K TV, or my Bluetooth headphones. Like, you really want like 17 channels surrounding you, and just having that shit just like pop in and out. As someone who works at live events, who's gone like, oh wow, I really wish I had some earplugs right now. I related to the character, and it's a tragedy. Despite not liking the main character, I was very sympathetic to him.
It's a really good movie, but it's also one of those like hard to watch. Like, it made me squirm a little bit because sometimes when like losing senses like is a fear to have.
For sure.
And I also have a grandmother who is deaf. And so I grew up with her and her hearing aids going off all the time. And it just got me more to think about like, oh, her experiences and everything that goes around. Cause she actually got the cochlear implants before I moved out to go to college and stuff. And I mean, to hear how all that goes down, I mean, it made me appreciate her and sympathize with her more. But yeah, it's one of those movies where it's really good, but oh my goodness, like it made me uncomfortable at certain times just because of my own fears and irrationalities.
Well, it's a lot more than that too. It's about dealing with codependence and like this couple that came together, and I guess the guy was a heroin junkie, and so once his hearing fries out, like he naturally panics, and like there's a scene where he's just smoking a cigarette, and he looks like he's being pretty casual about it, but his girlfriend's like, Jimmy, he's smoking a cigarette, get over you now. You know, like, and it's just like I would be in the same place. Let's not make a big deal about this. The man has a lot on his mind. Just let him.
I mean, he lost everything in that moment because not only was he codependent on his hearing, he was making music. He had the girlfriend. He met the girlfriend in the rehab facility. So everything that happened, I mean, through the course of the movie, I mean, his whole life gets flipped upside down the whole time. It's a real roller coaster of emotions throughout that whole movie. For sure.
I feel like if he had just been a little more patient, he could still make music. It's the story we got. It's not long. I don't think there's an ounce of fat on it.
Oh, heck no.
Yeah, it's really well done.
The movie or Riz Ahmed.
Yeah, Riz Ahmed's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, Riz Ahmed. Wow, when I saw the trailer, I thought this was about a little kid going deaf, recording sounds around the country. And I was like, that movie's written by a gay white person of privilege.
What?
Oh, that's Ultimate Playlist of Sound. Sorry. That's not in this one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of the opposite movie that you're just.
It sounds like a different kind of a bummer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it
does. He's Joy and Bummer. Yeah.
Drew, I feel like you've seen more movies than Kai and I have this year. What was there something snubbed? Is there something that could have filled the last 2 slots? It's weird math how like it's a possibility of 10, but we're only going to do 8.
Well, one that sticks out is one that we just did a review on the podcast that I'm on the Movie Minds was Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Okay.
That one was really, really well done. It's off of a play, and Chadwick Boseman gives the performance of a lifetime in that. I mean, he gets lost in the character. I don't even see him in the character at certain points because he just gets so enthralled, and his monologues in that movie are fantastic, and he gives the performance of a lifetime. Another one is One Night in Miami. I watched that one as well. That one's on Amazon Prime as well. And that one was really good. It's done by Regina King, and it's also a movie adapted from a play. Very well done. Everyone gives stellar performances as Jim Brown, Cassius Clay, Malcolm X. It just both movies are really, really good, and I'm surprised that with 10 movies that could be opted in, those 2 missed out. And a lot of I've heard say that Ma Rainey's just missed out on getting into the list, which is surprising because I think Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman are stellar, and they, I think, will win their categories on Oscar night. So it's interesting why it happened that way, but
that sounds like it should have been right in there.
You got Judas and the Black Messiah to win it. What could steal it?
I would say Mank would be up there because again, it's Hollywood. It's got all the pieces. It's about Hollywood. I mean, and let's reward some Fincher. Sure, why not?
I could see. I know The Father is getting a lot of awards talks. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm planning on seeing it. I know Nomadland is good, but I think it's also divisive into where not every critic will put it high up on the list because of how niche and how heavy it can be. I also don't think you can go wrong with The Trial of Chicago 7 with Sorkin.
Yes.
He's also fantastic. That movie is amazing too. It's really, really good.
What are we thinking about the Oscars as an event this year? I normally never watch the Golden Globes. They print all that shit the next day, Brad. But they did everything through Zoom, you know? So like, again, the woman who directed Nomadland, she was just in her office, just wearing a hoodie. But then Anya Taylor-Joy, you know,
Oh,
just
man.
decked out to like the 12s, okay? Like,
She had her whole
amazing.
crew there doing the thing.
She rented out a suite just for the one wall. Like it was very well thought out.
But what's funny is that that's her hoodie. Like that's what she does to feel comfortable. Like the things I've seen her in from the Queen's Gambit, I'm just like, really? Did somebody put you in that, or did you want to dress
She
up
just
like that?
relaxes in ball gowns.
Yeah.
It's an hour to get into her breakfast wig, and then the rest of the day, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I heard that maybe a few days ago. I understand things are probably going to change, but they were like, if you don't show up, you're not going to get your award. Do you think they're going to still keep with that, or are they going to just submit and let? Like, you got to at least wear a bow tie on your Zoom chat, son.
Oh yeah, I mean,
They're insisting everybody has to be there.
Yeah, Golden
Wow.
Globes, didn't they see like just record low, viewership? And I feel like the Oscars too is just going to be, it's just the lowest it's ever.
Yes, but at the same time, I feel like it's all commercial. So regardless of what the Oscars do, I think it's going to be like no one knows this list. Like I had to scratch my head at a couple of titles, and like the mainstream audience doesn't know any of these movies. Like theaters literally just opened up last week.
I think that's it as well. I mean, viewership has been declining over these award shows for years because people aren't really caring about them, but also
They go long.
They go long, and then people scratch their head wondering what came out the past year. And if they're mostly streaming stuff, yeah, they're more people are able to view them more readily than maybe going to a certain screening, or Sound of Metal only has like 2 showings on a Saturday, while Wonder Woman 84 has like 1 billion showings and it's terrible. So I think that's another thing that plays into it. People are just wondering like, what's even out? Did we watch any of these movies? I don't think I want to go see them, kind of thing.
Yeah, that whole pipeline's been derailed where it's just seeing a trailer for a movie during a sporting event. It's like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like when we you mentioned the little things back in January, it's like we should have been seeing trailers for this like going into October, okay? Like, and I'm only hearing about this now. Everything on this list was like that, maybe except for Promising Young Woman, which is that weird movie that was like supposed to come out the week after we unfortunately got locked down, and then just kept getting bumped until they finally were like, all right, well, 4 theaters are open, so we'll put it in that, but then everything else is VOD for $20.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. I think this has been a pretty good talk, guys. You got anything else you want to add, either of you guys?
I just wanted to say I wanted to see Minari, but I did fight it at a couple of corners because being Asian American myself, there's this weird spot where people go like, hey, it's got Asians in it, you should see it. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. Stop it. That happened with a few other movies, but I love Steven Yeun enough that I'm like, I want to see what he's doing. Like, I want to check this out. But it still falls into that. I don't know what that is, but it's just reflex that I have that made me not want to see Crazy Rich Asians for a while, which I love now. But I was still like, I don't know. Do I have to? What do you say? But yeah, no, that's definitely next on my list. Although, like, I was looking for it was like $20 still on demand.
That's weird because that's been out long enough now where it should just be a rental for $6-7 at the
Hold
most.
on, quick Google here.
Oh, once it got that Oscar bump, that's where it's back up to 20.
$20 YouTube, $20 Voodoo, $20 Google Play, $20. Yeah.
Drew, you used to be at FML Pod. Now you're at the Movie Minds.
Yes, we did a whole rebranding, sadly, with the theater shutting down for a while and everything taking a pause. The Fantasy Movie League has paused themselves and is questioned whether they are going to be returning or when they will be returning, or a timetable. So we decided to rebrand as the Movie Minds, and we do a lot more with movie trivia reviews and side games. Basically, it's the same show, except we tweaked up the movie trivia reviews, and we still have a lot of great shows in the name.
Outstanding. And that's once a week.
Yes. We're about to do our April Fears, where we're watching a horror movie along and doing like an old retro horror movie review, because I've been wanting to watch horror movies. We're like 6 months away from October. I've been dying. We haven't had any real good horror movies lately. So we're setting some time to do some horror movie reviews all of April. And it's all movies that I have not seen, and they're all classics. So I'm actually really excited to watch them. I just watched The Lost Boys.
Oh, that's a great one.
Oh my gosh. So fantastic. Talk about no ounce of fat on a movie. That is fantastic. It's an hour and 37 minutes, and you need every single minute of it. It's fantastic.
It just moves along real fast. It's got a great soundtrack. It looks great. Joel Schumacher. Yeah. The sequels are something else. If you have to compare the two, the third one is better than the second one. But
okay.
Yeah. Kai, you do some things around here. You actually have a Star Trek podcast coming up this Monday.
Yes, we have a State of the Trek with Jamil Hemphill, where he weighs in on all things Trek, and he tries to convince me to come back to the modern Trek fold. It's an exciting pod, and it drops on Trek Day, where many years in the future, we actually are contacted.
First contact day.
First contacted, where we achieve warp speed in honor of that. So you should definitely check that out. And that should be on the Microdose feed right here. Mm-hmm. So check it out.
That's what's up. I do a couple things around here. At least speaking of Jamil Hemphill, we just released Sweet Science Cinema #2, talking Reginald Hudlin's The Great White Hype. You can expect the next episode the last Wednesday of May. Next, Kush and Kai. Hey, that's you, buddy. Kush and Kai 54. We're talking Cobra Kai season 3, and that's going to drop April 20th, 420, a special Kush and Kai 420 episode.
Why did they steal from Zoo, Kush? Why did they steal from Zoo?
Well, they had to. It was. There's that 5-minute break. You got to do it. Steal the penguin.
Where else do you get Cobras?
The Kick-Ass Movie Podcast. You can right now check out King of the Kickboxers, but coming out April 28th. Again, last Wednesday of the month. Blood Fist Part 3. Forced to Fight. Don the Dragon Wilson. John Shaft. It's going to be a great time. We're going to talk about going from zero to arson and from zero to rape, all in under 60 minutes.
That escalated quickly.
It escalates very quickly, Kai. For Drew Angelman, I've been Kush Hayes.
I've been Kai. Drew,
You've been you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks for being a part of this, guy. And that's our show.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the Bosnet family.
Fukushima just happened 3 years ago, bro. It's all circular, man.